So Pokemon Day is coming up soon. I don't think this will come as a surprise to you, but it may come as a surprise to you that I am feeling pretty disillusioned with Pokemon. And I think that Pokemon Legends ZA kind of broke me. I feel like there's been, for a while, a kind of a growing gap between me and Pokemon. It was like a manageable gap, and then ZA just kind of like put a wedge in and then just like cracked that wide open.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just kind of started talking and we never actually like introduced who you are. Long-term viewers, certainly the people like on our Discord, they will know who you are. But there's probably people who have never seen you on camera. This is Indigo, my wife.
Hi.
I'm UmbreonLibris. I was thinking about this the other day, and I know that there's at least one person in my audience who is going to be completely baffled with this statement, but I feel like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire was the last like true Pokemon experience for me. Aesthetically, it really felt like Pokemon between the visual style, like the chibis, the colors, the rendering style with outlines, the music of the games, the gameplay that felt familiar but was still very fun, and the game still brought lots of new things to the experience. There was like Mallville City, there were the updated character designs, there were, of course, quality of life improvements, there was the whole Delta episode. And so it just hit the right combination of nostalgia and novelty. And of course, that was in part because it was a remake.
Yeah. I do think, though, that Auras, like, if you just showed it to a kid who didn't have any prior experience with Pokemon, pretty sure they would still enjoy the heck out of that game.
For sure.
Yeah, it's also one of my favorite games as well.
Yeah. So I think it is in part because it's a remake. So it's kind of, you know, pulling on those nostalgia strings for both of us. Maybe especially for you, because I know Hoenn is your favorite region.
It is.
But that's not all that it has, right?
Yeah.
So obviously it isn't a perfect game, but it is a game that made me feel like a child again. It gave me the feelings and the emotions that I want to get from a Pokemon game. The later games, they were still good, but they kind of started on a downward trend. So I think Sun and Moon were still very good, but you know, the plot was a little bit awkward and I had other like little small complaints. So it was still good. It was still, you know, in the same kind of ballpark as Auras. It was just not quite as good. Then there was Let's Go, that were, I think, almost perfect games for what they were trying to be. Yeah. My complaints were, again, really minor. But I think the problem with them is that they just target a much broader audience than usual. And so it just doesn't quite nail that kind of childhood nostalgia factor on as many aspects as Auras did.
Yeah, I think if we go back to like introducing the games to children, like the Auras is like, all right, 7-year-old, like here, like you would enjoy the heck out of this game. Whereas Let's Go is like, hey, 4-year-old, let's just do an activity together.
After Let's Go, I think that's when the gap between me and Pokemon starts to get really noticeable with Sword and Shield. There was great stuff in those games, but I think my complaints were no longer just really minor things. I think the story was really clunky. The execution of the wild area concept was very poor as well. And so like I think those two things especially made it feel like it wasn't quite on par with the majority of Pokemon games until that point.
It's very noticeable with the wild area in particular because it felt like a beta for what they introduced in the DLC. Wait, guys, this is supposed to be a finished product. That does feel a little insulting to the customers in Diamond and Pearl, where you had that like little like friend area, and you only had a very select number of Pokemon that you could like walk around with.
Yeah, but I feel like that is more like a teaser for a thing that they are working on for the next game.
That's fair, yeah.
Rather than a poor execution that was a stepping stone for something slightly better that they did.
Yeah.
In the same game, but later you just had to pay more for it.
Yeah, which is, again, like, hey, that's not cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, after that, there was Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl that were, for me, remakes of games that I did not originally like that much. And I actually felt that the remakes were more enjoyable than the originals. Mm-hmm. But that's a relatively low bar. And the build quality of the games was really, really bad. Mm-hmm. It seemed pretty clear to me that those games were a cash grab, that there was not a lot of passion or thought put into them.
Mm-hmm. There's something very like assembly line like feeling from it.
Yeah.
Because it's like we took this asset and then just like plugged, dropped it into our computer and it comes out with the version that you see in the new game.
No, and to your point, like the games have the overworld has this chibi aesthetic that I personally really like. Mm-hmm. I think the look of the overworld is actually pretty good, except none of the following Pokemon do that aesthetic. Mm-hmm. Whereas like in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, the Pokemon were also chibis, right? Mm-hmm. In Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, it was just, oh, we have this model, we'll use that one, instead of giving them the kind of consistent look and aesthetic to actually match the rest of the overworld. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very shortly after that, there was Pokemon Legends Arceus, which felt like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
It felt like maybe there were better times ahead.
Yeah.
But it also fell short on some key elements. For me, that was the second half of the story and the actual gameplay mechanics of the noble battles. Mm-hmm. But it made me feel like, okay, like the next game is going to be better. Mm-hmm. And then the next game was Scarlet and Violet. Even my voice doesn't want to talk about that one.
Yeah.
Because they were games that had fantastic characters and the story was really excellent overall. There was some great music, but then it missed the mark on basically everything else. Mm-hmm. The experience of exploring Paldea was not good.
I think it would have been so much better if it wasn't so freaking big. If they literally just then it would have felt like a very rich world. But because for some reason they made the map huge and then didn't actually have enough content to fill it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Ran with it.
They made it really big, which I think is to kind of enhance that feeling of exploration. Mm-hmm. But then there's so little for you to actually find in it.
Yeah, yeah.
The reward for that exploration is so minor. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It just was never fulfilling.
Mm-hmm. I really like the way they did the world in Legends. Legends Arceus. Now there's 2 Legends games. I'm playing the game right now, so I'm thinking of it. Ghost of Yotei. It is open world, but it also isn't, because you have a map that's fairly contained and it's full of stuff. So in Arceus, it's full of Pokemon and there's side quests and all that. You have an appropriate amount of exploration and things to do for that space, and then you leave that space, and then you enter a different space. So it's not really open world because it's multiple contained small maps. I've come to really like games like that, where it's you have these little contained, courses, and you can enjoy it for what it is, and then you move on to the next course, and you're not overwhelmed. And
it's still an open world approach to that limited space.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's that is fantastic, especially if someone gets overwhelmed by an entirely open world game, that you can kind of just okay, I can tackle this area on its own. For Scarlet and Violet, you just have vastness, and it's a lot of vastness for no satisfying reason.
I have not played Ghost of Yotei, but from what I've seen you playing it, the landscape is quite pretty.
Yeah.
Whereas in Scarlet and Violet, there's certain locations where it's just like, oh, the geology here is really interesting. But overall, it's nothing to write home about.
I kept complaining over and over. Just every single time he loaded up the game, I was like, man, this game is ugly. Like, I can't look at, like, these games in general, they expect you to put in a certain amount of time to, like, look at them. You have to look at a game, generally speaking, to enjoy it. The expectation for you to look at this and have it be not nice to look at is it's frustrating for sure. So I was just like, I can't play this game because it's just so ugly.
So then that brings us to Pokemon Legend ZA, where the early trailers for the game gave me the hope that Pokemon would kind of shorten that gap again. I was excited that it was another true sequel. I was excited for the idea that the whole adventure would be contained within Lumiose. I know a lot of people were wary of that, but I thought it could work really well. I was excited to try a new battle system. I was excited to finally have extensive character customization again. I went into the game with like an open mind, an open heart. I was ready to be pleased. And then the game let me down on every single one of those aspects. We'll go through them one by one. Customization?
I mean, customization, definitely a step up from Scarlet and Violet.
Absolutely. There's like no skirts and dresses, basically. Or like almost nothing.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of great clothes, but somehow it still felt limited. Like maybe it's more of a mismatch between like my style or the style that I wanted my character to have and what was available in the game. I was still able to make multiple outfits that I was happy with, but it always felt like a bit of a struggle to find things that I was happy with or that like surprised me and things like that. So to this day, I'm still yearning for what Sword and Shield gave, except Sword and Shield had clothes that were gender locked. And so like, I want the Sword and Shield level of customization and those like styles, but without the gender locking. Then I'm happy. There are so many clothes in Sword and Shield that I would be happy to be wearing right now. Then there's the battle style, which I thought was interesting. I appreciated how it was kind of challenging to learn how to handle that new battle style. Almost every battle still felt engaging, even when it was like a really easy battle that you would win in just like 1 or 2 hits. But it was just really clunky. There was bad pathing, like when you tell a Pokemon to go do an attack and then it like goes to take the stairs even though it's a flying Pokemon that could just fly down. There's like bad positioning where like a Pokemon will stand somewhere and fire its attack at a tree instead of taking like 2 steps over. For whatever reason, fails to like go up a step that it normally can go up, and so it just like is like running in place and then doesn't do its attack. So some attacks have like really, really slow wind up, and so the whole thing felt really unresponsive. I understand that it's a part of learning how to get good at this particular battle style, but it just didn't feel good. For a long time, I've had this kind of vision of a main series Pokemon game where the combat would be akin to like Super Smash Brothers or Pokémon Tournament, where you control the Pokemon directly, the trainer is off to the side. In like Super Smash Brothers, you can switch Pokemon in and out. In both of those games, the like main campaign battles, they are equally winnable and fun, whether you are, you know, getting really precise with your movements or you're just button mashing. I think that's a benefit of those games, because if you want to get good for like, you know, competitive online play, you can, and you can be rewarded for that. But if you just want to have fun and you just want to do like instinctually what feels right in the moment and not have to worry about being really precise, you can still have fun. And ZA did not deliver on that vision. I guess I wanted it to be closer to that, and that is not what they did, and it just, for me, it ultimately didn't work. It was still challenging and engaging, but there were so many moments of frustration that it kind of mined away at my enjoyment of the game.
I did enjoy kind of doing the little royale, just one-on-one, 1v1 trainer battles, but I definitely felt like it totally falls apart once you're engaging with more than one Pokemon, and definitely online tournaments and multiplayer, because the screen is just chaos, just all in your face, and it's like, that's not enjoyable. I don't want to look at that.
So many times you end up getting KO'd by an attack you didn't see because it was
behind you,
off screen. Lumio City. I really thought it was interesting to set a whole open world game within one city. A real city, especially one like Paris, it has enough stuff going on. It has enough variety. There is content. there is enough stuff within a real city to give you enough to do in an open world game. ZA does not treat Lumios like a city. It treats it like a landscape. Buildings are not there for you to go in and meet people and talk to people. Buildings are there to be mountains, basically. They're things you have to climb. I feel like Lumios in ZA had fewer buildings that you could go into and do things than in X and Y. And I didn't count them, but in X and Y, there were buildings where you could go into and just talk to people that weren't a point of interest like a museum necessarily. It was just you go in and there's office space and you talk to people.
And sometimes they give you an item.
In ZA, the buildings, they are really just walls, right? They control your movement.
It is a giant scaffolding obstacle course.
The whole thing is scaffolding. Pokemon has tried, I guess, 4 different takes on what an open world-ish kind of game could look like. And I feel like only Legends Arceus was reasonably successful, and it did that thing where it kind of sections off so that you have an open space, but then there's a separate open space. And I do think that a true, fully open world Pokemon game could work. I think thematically the Pokemon world is fitting for that, because it's the idea of you are a kid who's going on an adventure. You're leaving your hometown to go learn about the world and learn about yourself. And it's entirely self-directed where you go and what you do. But the games have not figured out how to actually make a game out of that yet. They did it very well in Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, where those games were pretty linear. But they gave you kind of that illusion, I guess, of freedom, because, from where you begin, there's only one place that you can go to. And so
well, I think a major difference between the first games and the games now is HMs. Because in the first games, you would see the boulder, you can't move.
Right.
And you're okay. And then later on, you get the HM for strength. And then it's oh, you can move these boulders. And it's that boulder that was in that cave, I gotta go back to it. Now, with the scale of the games being what they are, HMs obviously don't work. You can't really have a boulder in your path because you can, just go around it right here. HMs just can't be a thing, the same way that they were in those games in the past.
Yeah, I think it could. I think they could do that and do that well. But yeah, it's more of the Metroidvania kind of approach to things where, you explore what you can, you acquire a new ability that gives you access to more areas, so you have to backtrack to go access those areas, and that will give you access to other new abilities that will then open other areas. So like there's a lot of going back and forth, a lot of backtracking, because as you progress, the kinds of obstacles that you're able to deal with grows, and so the portion of the map that you're able to access grows as well. I mean, they do a little bit of that now, right? Because like with Roto Glide, like once you get Roto Glide, it does open up which like roofs that you're able to reach. But it's not as satisfying because the Roto Glide is a thing you get at a point in the story. It is not like I've explored this much, I've accomplished these things, I have found this item or this HM that will then give me access to these other things. It is just, okay, like the game is just saying, oh, now you can do this thing. Why couldn't you do it before?
But yeah, again, we can kind of go back to Arceus where like the
noble Pokemon you can ride.
Those ones were really good actually for kind of replacing the HM. Now that I'm like thinking about it. Because it was like, now that you have this Pokemon that can do this particular thing, now there's these areas that you can get to. And it like they were earned, right? It was like part of the story, but then they were like, we recognize you as being like a capable kid.
You earn the trust and the help of that Pokemon. Why were you not allowed to do Roto Glide from the beginning?
Is not.
There is no reason. It's only because Tawny didn't tell you that was a feature.
or Urbane.
Urbane doesn't exist to me. The fact that it was a sequel. Sequels, not remakes. So like Gold, Silver, Crystal. Really good sequels. Black and White 2. Even more like actually a sequel to the story. And also like really good games, really good sequels. You get to see how the world has changed. You know, you see the same characters, but now they're a little bit older. The same places, but they're a little bit different. Maybe they're a little bit more developed, or like there was an accident, there was a volcano eruption, you know? Pokemon appear in different places, so you kind of get to see how the world changes over time. And even Legends Arceus, I mean, it was a prequel, not a sequel, but it does also some of that because it shows familiar settings and it shows events that we kind of know of from history, from legend, that you get to see them actually happening. Z8 does okay with this, but I feel like all of the significant differences are the plot relevant ones. There isn't really I don't know, like a building or like a location that you would recognize from X and Y that just looks different, you know, for some reason, for like something that happened in the past 5 years that has no necessarily like bearing, but it's just like, if you think of, I think it was in Vermilion, in Gen 1, there was like a Machop that was like pounding down an area, like flattening an area for a building to be built on top of it. And in Gold, Silver, Crystal, you go back there is no building, but the same guy who was there with his Machop flattening the land says like, oh yeah, I think he said like, I ran out of funding to actually build the building. And so it didn't happen. So like, that is a difference. It has no bearing on anything except it just says, yeah, like, I guess money is important in this world. Like, it gives you like environmental storytelling about the world, but it doesn't advance the story. It doesn't have any bearing on anything that happens. And Z8 doesn't have any of that. Like, all of the differences are the things that have direct influence on the plot. And I guess I'm missing the kind of like background changes. And even like appearances of Lumio's adjacent characters, like like Diantha, Clement, and Bonnie, like
those are big ones.
And I think Tierno doesn't make an appearance, but he does get directly named in the DLC. I haven't played the DLC. We'll get to that. So like, okay, that's something like a character got mentioned, and he has a direct connection because it turns out that he is Lita's half-brother.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, in the main game, he doesn't get mentioned. Like, it gets kind of implied that it's Tierno that she gets her inspiration from, mm-hmm. and, like, her Staryu does exactly his dance move. So, like, if you know who that is, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, why don't they name him? Why don't they tell us, hey, this character is actually directly related to this other character that you already
mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It would help enrich the world.
Yeah.
Right? To kind of have, you know, to see changes from, you know, the NPCs, the world that they live in.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it brings kind of just seeing, you know, little pieces of their story just kind of helps to enrich the world even more.
So Cena and Dexio would have been great to see as well.
Yeah. I do feel like there is like the odd character. Like, I feel like there was somebody that was like, I'll solve the mystery of the Lumiose Ghost Girl or something like that.
I guess this kind of goes back to the open worldness of it, because there are like individual characters, like NPCs,
mm-hmm.
who have a little line
mm-hmm.
that gives you a little tidbit,
mm-hmm.
but there are so many of them.
Exactly, yeah.
It is impossible to keep track of who you've talked to,
mm-hmm.
at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes overwhelming. Like,
mm-hmm.
am I just going to talk to the same people like 5 times and
mm-hmm.
completely miss someone else?
Mm-hmm.
And so I end up not talking to as many people. Like, if their like speech bubble above their head like catches my eye, I'll go and talk to them. But otherwise, I don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It does help to make Lumiose feel like a real city,
mm-hmm.
because there's just people going about their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't help as much with connecting this game, this story, to the previous version of it that we had seen,
mm-hmm.
because it doesn't necessarily highlight those connections that we would particularly enjoy getting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think the fact that it's a sequel brings us to the elephant in the room. And I think that spending like 2 or 3 months before the release of ZA researching and writing a video about Lysander really messed me up. Like, not like it messed me up like I was in a bad place mentally or something like that. I think quite the opposite. I think the video ends in a really hopeful place. And
mm-hmm.
if you haven't watched it, you should.
And like and subscribe.
Thanks, man. But as soon as L walks on screen, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I think I knew right there that the game was ruined. I think there was no reason to bring back a villain that we all took for dead, if not to give him a redemption arc of some kind. I think that's why it was obvious right away
mm-hmm.
that the game was ruined for me. There was no reason to take the most 2025 villain and give him a redemption arc in 2025. I don't know, maybe there's some like, you know, they wrote all of this before Lysander felt really timely or something like that, and so, you know, by the time it became obvious that he was going to be a very strong parallel for things we are going through in this year, maybe it's too late to change it, but like I cannot imagine that they didn't see it coming. Like, I only made that video last year in the lead up to the release of Legend ZA because the release of the game kind of gave me a anchor to say, like, this is when I'm releasing this video. But I'm pretty sure we had talked about that connection like a year or two before.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't taken the time to like do the deep dive and see the extent of all of those connections, but Lysander was an Elon Musk figure, or Elon Musk was a Lysander figure, like at least 2 years earlier. Mm-hmm. It was already the case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that L was in the story wasn't itself what ruined the game. Even the fact that there is a little bit of a redemption arc to it isn't quite what did it. I think maybe because the game doesn't really give Lysander a redemption arc, right? Like, it's awkward because he has amnesia. So he like, the person isn't really the same character. Mm-hmm. So like, even as his memories return, they feel more like the actions of someone else, of just like learning, someone else did this thing. Oh yeah, like that's really bad. Mm-hmm. And not the like, I did this. Mm-hmm. I need to atone for the things that I did. Mm-hmm. Lysander only changes as a person because he forgot who he was. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's not real accountability.
Right. That's not real accountability. That's not really a redemption arc. Mm-mm. And that's, I think, also why the game calls him L and not Lysander. Mm. But having Lysander there made me look more critically at the story as I went. Mm. Before L shows up, I think I would say that I was like really enjoying the game. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, it's a 7 out of 10. It's fun. It's got its little issues, but I'm enjoying it. I just can't give it a higher grade because I don't know where it's going. I need to like see, there's all these threads and like I need to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. Is there too much water? I don't know yet.
Too many buildings, not enough stairs. So, after he shows up, I start to look at the story a little bit more critically, pay more attention to actually what is the story trying to tell me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like neither Lysander nor anyone around him really reckons with all of the harm that he caused. Mm-hmm. Almost nobody in this game is a good person. I think the only characters in the ZA Lysandrosphere, the only characters in that realm that I have no issue with are Grisham and Grizel, because they grew up in Team Flare, so they had no choice. Mm-hmm. They are left to deal with the consequences of other people's bad choices, mm-hmm. and they have, like, because of all of this, they have a warped perspective, but they're doing their best. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're not great people, but I don't hold it against them.
Yeah, and I will say that by the end, they come to the right conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is just like, oh, okay. Like, because I remember when I was playing, I was just like, oh, like, guys, like, oh, this is so, you are so misled. Oh, no. And so I was really worried for them. But then you get to the end of the game and they come to the right place where they're like, we are going to show up for our community. And that's how we sort of, redeem ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's sort of just like, okay, you're good. All right.
On the other hand, we have Mabel, who is given the same treatment mm-hmm. as a Nazi SS officer, which is she gets given a cushy government job instead of actually like paying for her crimes. Mm-hmm.
Well, she took a deal, right? So,
well, yes, but like. Yeah. A lot of Nazi officers, including from the SS, from like the Nazi like secret service, so to speak, mm-hmm. Did the same thing. Mm-hmm. The famous one being Werner von Braun, who went to the U.S., became a member of NASA, and helped the U.S. like win the space race and get a mm-hmm. man on the moon. Like mm-hmm. he was a high-paid government official instead of paying for the crimes that he directly committed. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You have Corbeau, who is a Lysander fanboy and like barely acknowledges Lysander's crimes. Mm-hmm. And the weirdest thing is that he thinks that he can do good in the city by using extortion and fear to force people into doing community service. Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that he is getting people to do good deeds does not make him a good person. Like,
yeah, that's the one that's a weird. So weird.
You have Zygarde, who is the Pokemon that is supposed to keep environmental balance, and we are told that he chose to save the man who tried to kill everyone.
Yeah.
He could have just died of his own hubris, but no. Zygarde is like, oh no, I'll save this guy. I don't know, maybe Zygarde saved everyone? That seems a little hard to believe.
I mean, it's not mentioned, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's not mentioned one way or another, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe nobody died, but like... The fact that the Pokemon of balance chose to save the genocidal maniac, it does not work.
Yeah.
It feels like the story, it feels like the game is telling you, is I guess maybe leading you to the same conclusion that your rival in X and Y also lands on, which is we need to find a way to work together. We do not need to find a way to work together with the genocidal maniacs, just making that clear. You have AZ, who gets to die quietly off screen without reckoning with how his repeated mistakes have been putting innocent people at risk for 3,000 years.
Yeah. He did it again? What the heck? Because it worked so well the first time, like easy. I can see why Floette took forever to come back to you. My goodness. You did this twice?
But through all of that, I think what really broke me was having to break up a protest against the development company CEO.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that either.
I wanted to side with the protesters.
Yeah.
They had legitimate concerns.
Yeah.
As you learn a little bit later in the game, Quasartico's redevelopment plan is textually, like you are directly told this in dialogue, it is about keeping property values high for the city as a whole. But you also know that some people's homes are being completely blocked off by wild areas, so obviously their property values don't matter.
Yeah.
The motivation of Quasartico is to keep property values high in a game where the protagonist and all of your closest friends live in a rundown hotel out of an old man's charity because you have no other option. Tawny or Bane, or Bane doesn't exist. Tawny came to Lumio's to look for their mom and didn't know anyone else in the city before, and so found work and lodging with Hotel Z. Lita came to Lumio's on a scholarship for a dance school, but at first she was living with a roommate, and when her roommate moved out,
She couldn't afford it, right?
she could no longer afford rent on her own. So she ended up having to go and live at Hotel Z. Naveen runs away from home because his grandmother didn't like his interest in fashion, and so threw out all of his sewing supplies.
Yeah.
And of course, the player character shows up at the train station with no one to meet, no place to stay, and basically nothing but the clothes on their back and a potion in their bag. Team MZ is entirely homeless kids living in a rundown hotel.
Yeah.
And let's not forget Emma, right? Who was also a homeless kid until about 5 years ago, a looker takes her in. And yet the game is making the player participate, the player and all of their friends participate in this scheme to keep property values and therefore rents high. The game is making you keep yourself homeless. The game makes you a class traitor. That doesn't feel good. And the only indication in the entire game that maybe what you're doing isn't so good is when you and Tawny confront Jet and Vinny about this whole thing, about the redevelopment plan. And they look at each other. And they nod at each other. And they say, of course they're not doing anything shady. Like, yes, that is the game telling you, maybe look at this, below the surface level. The game doesn't discuss that the protagonists are all homeless. The game doesn't discuss that all of the benches have hostile architecture. Those are all there for you to see. But the only clue, the only thing that the game gives you is this nod. And that is not enough to convince me, at least, that is actually the message that they are trying to give players, right? If the message that they wanted to leave players with was, to put it broadly, homelessness bad, groundbreaking. If that was the message they wanted to give, they would have put that textually and not subtextually. So honestly, I don't really know what the point of the nod is. Maybe as just a hint of like, hey, actually, these are the bad guys in the game. And like, yes, they are bad guys, but they're not like antagonists. Like, you work for them. So like, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like ultimately the game feels more like an endorsement of the redevelopment plan than a critique of it. Like, maybe subtextually it is a critique, but textually it is an endorsement with the only hint that maybe you should look further being that nod. To me, that's not enough.
Something that really disappointed me with the story, you have this game that is all about the redevelopment of Lumiose and how we wanted to make it a world that, or a city that accommodates both people and Pokemon. And you never actually get there, which is so disappointing. Well, I remember when I was watching you first playing the game, and of course when I eventually played the game myself, and it's like, oh, like this is the zone. Like, you just put this gate, like you just slapped this on with like hologram and called it a day. And then, as you're talking to Mabel, then it's like, oh, like this is just being scrambled together because all these Pokemon are flocking to the city. You don't know why. This is a measure to put things on hold until we figure out a better solution. And so I was hopeful that by the end of the game, you would have spaces, like as you're playing over time, the spaces would become more robust. And that like, oh, there's, this bridge here that goes over so pedestrians and people can still access their homes. But the Pokemon are kind of underneath and in their area. But that never happens. And when you get to the end of the game, they're kind of just like, yep, all the wild zones are just like still exactly as they were from the beginning. And we'll figure it out eventually. And you never actually get to be part of that solution.
Yeah, it would have been really nice to have an actual development of the approach to the wild zones. Of just like, in the beginning, yes, they aren't like completely separated, but then, there's some way where they like slowly start to open up or something like that. Would have been really nice. But if you go for the kind of deeper read of the story, that is probably intentional. It was never actually the intention of Quasartico to create this like beautiful integrated city. Like, that is the vision that they're selling in order to be able to do what they're doing to keep property values high.
It's also the image that they sold that made me enticed by the game.
It's kind of like selling a vision of like 100% all self-driving cars, and it'll be a beautiful, perfect world, and we are never going to get there. One, And also the vision is flawed, but like, even if the vision weren't flawed, like, we are not actually going there.
Yeah.
It is just a thing that they can tell you in order to keep selling you stuff.
Yeah. And like, I'll say as well, like with the world's, landscape being what it is, I was optimistic that this was a game where you do get to be part of the solution. Because I think with the way that the world is right now, it's easy to feel very defeatist about it, and feel like you can't do anything about it. So to, even in a fictional world, to actually have a meaningful influence on it, like, I think that's important to experience to encourage you to have influence in the world that you live in. With this game, and then with Sword and Shield, I'm kind of clocking like a little bit of a trend with like CEOs where like they can't be all bad. Especially like with this game, it is very different from, say, Gen 1, like Pokemon Red and Blue, where you have like, you are essentially playing as the underdog who has to dismantle this criminal organization. You have to take down the big bad guy, Giovanni, who is corrupt and rich and powerful. And then you have sort of the new games. Now it's 30 years later. And Game Freak is no longer that small little company. Now they're this big conglomerate. And so now they're kind of like, but we're rich and powerful. Like, we can't be the bad guys. That's not a thing. So like, we're not all bad. Ooh woo.
It's complex, right? Because like in all of the early games, you're a child taking down organized crime.
Yeah.
There's no way for you to see those people as the good guys within the context of the game. But then you have, I think it starts probably, I think, with the Aether Foundation. Well, I guess maybe it starts with Lysander, because he is a CEO. Like he is both a CEO doing good and also kind of leader of essentially an organized crime syndicate. And like, that is what the game is about, right? Like, that is textually, like, the game does address in dialogue the fact that he is both. And then you have Lusamine, who is another, not exactly a CEO of a company, but like the president of a Greenpeace. And then you have Chairman Rose, who is the president of a company that owns every other company, and is also chairman of the Pokemon League. And then you have Quasartico. Lusamine, I guess Lysander is a CEO who is using his power, his influence to do bad things. Lusamine is a president who is using her power to do bad things. Rose is a CEO who is using his power and doing bad things, but for good motivations.
Yeah, like he's aiming to do something good, but the way he is going about it is bad. Like, this is...
Yeah, but that's where it starts to feel like maybe... I keep going back and forth, because like for Lysander, I think it was obvious, like he is a CEO and he is a bad guy.
Yeah.
With Lusamine, she is a CEO, she is doing bad things, but she's also doing good things because of the like conservation efforts of the Aether Foundation. And then there's Rose, who is a CEO, who is doing good things as like chairman of the league, and has this motivation to like secure the energy future of Galar, but is going about it in a bad way, and so is doing bad things. So I think you're right that they are kind of like repeatedly kind of diluting the badness of the CEO, because we end up now with a CEO who is doing a good thing that is actually bad.
Yeah, like
the game kind of frames it as a good thing.
Yeah, and it's just like they're still bad. They're just a lot better at hiding it. I don't think Game Freak is doing it on purpose. Like, I don't think they're doing this to be like, oh, you have to like, dig deep to find the true context of the story. Like, I don't think they're thinking that far ahead. Yeah. Which means that if we're gonna take the story at face value, which I think that is kind of how they intend it, then that's all good. If someone is going to have the argument of like, it's a kid's game, you just have to look at it at the surface level. The surface level is not good. Yeah.
And to your point about like, they used to be, as a company, they used to be underdogs, and now they are, the most profitable media company in the world. It is curious, to say the least, that in the beginning, the protagonist was an underdog, but they weren't fighting against like corporate structures or anything like that. Like they weren't, Game Freak starts out being a very small company trying to make it in the world of Nintendo, of like very dominant video game companies. But that's not what the game is about.
No.
Like, it has a little bit of that kind of dynamic in there, but that's not what the game is about. And now they are the like big multinational, extremely profitable company with a lot of power. Not Game Freak themselves, but the broader Pokemon company as a whole. And now they are making complicated villains that are all CEOs. They're putting their villains in the position that they see themselves in. In the beginning, the position that they were in was more akin to the protagonist, and now the position that they are in is more akin to the villain.
Yeah. You have all this power, and not that power is bad, but that it can be very corrupting, essentially. They're kind of minimizing that through the language that is their games. Yeah. That's a little odd.
Is this Game Freak trying to criticize the Pokemon Company? Because Game Freak, as a developer, has an influence in, but is also subject to what the Pokemon Company decides? And that's why it's such a, like, bad milquetoast kind of criticism? I don't know. But to get back to ZA... I just want to make it clear that I did not hate every minute of it. Like, I think visually, I know not everyone agrees with me on this, but I think visually it is very well executed for the style that they chose. I don't necessarily like the style that they chose. I wish it had outlines, like there are things that I wish that I would do differently to make it feel more like Pokemon, but given what they were going for, I think it is well executed. I actually love that they innovated on the battles. So again, even though I don't feel that the execution was quite there, I appreciate that they tried something different and they made something that is engaging. There's things that they could improve on, but I like the direction that they took it in. The world building is overall really good. The NPCs, like the characters that you interact with, the population of the overworld, you see all of these people going about their business, all of that I think is excellent. It really makes Lumio's feel like a city, aside from the fact that you can't go into any buildings, but
semantics.
But like, as you're walking down the street, there's all of these other people doing their own thing. They have their Pokemon. Sometimes the Pokemon are working. Sometimes the Pokemon are pets. Like, there's all of this variety, and it feels like you're walking down a real, like, city street.
Yes. There are some nooks in the game that it's like, like, this is great. This is nice. I like this.
The characters, like the important characters that you interact with, I think they have been a strong point of the series for some time now. Mm-hmm. Certainly a strong point in this game. Certainly the strongest point in Scarlet and Violet. Characters, I think, have been an overall upward trend, whereas the gameplay has been on a downward trend. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I actually like the vast majority of the new mega designs. And, like, Pokemon is what Pokemon relies on, right?
Yeah.
That is what makes or breaks.
That's why we're here.
But I would rather have been playing Baldur's Gate 3 this whole time. Because it's almost the same game, except Baldur's Gate 3 is better in every way. Except for the setting. Like, I do like the Pokemon setting better than the D&D setting. Mm-hmm. But as a game, Baldur's Gate 3 is better in every way. Mm-hmm. You play as this, like, blank canvas character who has no history, has no personality, is entirely, like, customizable. You have a party that is customizable as well. You can swap people in and out. Your ultimate goal in the game is to save the city from an existential threat that you don't really fully understand. And you spend your entire game kind of preparing for this heroic moment. And along the way, you meet other people. You learn about their stories. You help them. They help you. And ultimately, everyone kind of comes together to defeat this existential threat. Baldur's Gate 3, like Legend ZA, explores a lot of bad people doing good things. But in Baldur's Gate 3, you get to customize the experience of your character and the personality of your character because you actually have dialogue options that influence how the story progresses. There is an actual lore reason that is explored textually for why your character is a blank canvas, like why they start the game with no history, no knowledge of who they are. You are actually given motivations that propel you through the story that are not just eventually you're going to go save the city. You get there, but you have like personal, like self-interested reasons to keep doing things. Mm-hmm. And it also kind of serves as a connecting thread that like, that's why you're meeting all of these people. And there are things that you need like right now that eventually lead you to being in a position to be the one who saves the city. Mm-hmm. So if I would rather be playing Baldur's Gate than playing Pokemon, is the problem the game or is the problem me? Because I am a different person than I was when I first played Pokemon. Like, certainly, 30 years ago or almost 30 years ago, I was a different person. I'm even a different person now than I was 6 years ago. Is the essence of Pokemon still there? And I'm not connecting with it as much because I'm different? I think that is part of it. Mm-hmm. My politics, the way that I see the world has changed pretty significantly, especially over the past 6 years. What I wish to see out of Pokemon, I think has changed as well because of that. Mm-hmm. But I don't necessarily expect Pokemon to match my worldview, but I think Pokemon would probably have to do things differently in order to satisfy what I want out of it. Mm-hmm. As you were saying earlier, they are a multinational corporation. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that corporations at all should exist. Right? So there is a fundamental incompatibility there. Mm-hmm. To kind of go back to what we were talking about earlier with the recent villains, mm-hmm. I think those are the stories that feel the least successful to me. Mm-hmm. Because they are the ones with the strongest parallels to the modern day. Mm-hmm. So Ether was dedicated to conservation. Rose and Macrocosmos were concerned with energy and with long-term sustainability. Mm-hmm. Quasarticle is doing urban redevelopment. And it is for the sake of property values, but those are all things, those are all conversations that we have in the present day. Mm-hmm. Those are all very current. Mm-hmm. And very present. They're all things that kind of weigh on our lives. Mm-hmm.
If they are going to be having games with these kinds of villains, making commentary about these things that are relevant to our world, it needs to be meaningful. I think that's a fair thing to expect. If they are going to be touching on the subjects that are very relevant to us, then it can't just be oh, we just have this here and like that's it. Like you're touching on a very real topic. So make your commentary on it. Like make real commentary. If you're going to be doing this. If you don't want to actually do this because, oh, no, this is fantasy world, this is escapism, then don't touch on these topics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that I, disagree with what the games seem to be saying about these topics, but like, it's kind of inevitable that if they say anything, someone's going to disagree with it. Of course. Right? But it also feels like they're saying nothing, and that's also frustrating. We have another example in Pokemon history of it being done better, at least. And that is Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Because the events of those games, the fight between land and water, parallels real-world events that were happening in Japan at the time, or just, in the process of development of that game. It was a dispute between farmers and conservationists, if I'm remembering it correctly. But the way that Gen 3 treats that conflict is in a very abstract manner. It focuses the conversation on the philosophical question of, do we favor the water for the benefit of Pokemon and nature? That's, the Team Aqua side. Or do we benefit the land for the benefit of humans and development, and that being the Team Magma side? And they don't exactly line up with, I think that's part of it, they don't exactly line up with the two sides of the debate in Japanese society. But they parallel them. They have enough overlap that if you know the political context, you can understand that that's what it's about. But I think most importantly, it leaves the question open, right? Like, you have two sides, and depending on which game you're playing, a different one is the bad guy. Or if you're playing Emerald, they are both the bad guy. In Ruby, Team Magma is the clear bad guy, and Team Aqua is the one who's helping you take them down. In Sapphire, Aqua is the clear bad guy, and Magma is the one who is helping you take them down. In Emerald, they are both doing bad things, and they are both trying to stop the other.
Honestly, that feels more appropriate.
Yeah, it does. But so, in a way, Emerald is just like taking the two versions of the game and putting them together, like overlaying them on top of each other, and it does kind of highlight both are wrong. Even if you agree with their ideals, their approach, their tactics are wrong. Nobody is necessarily like in the right or superior here. They're not giving you an answer. They are maybe giving you a critique about the discourse generally, about like how people are talking about this and like how each side is kind of going about their tactics or whatever. But the games are not telling you this is what's right, this is what's wrong. And they're also not making it so clear, so obvious, so direct how the like game version of this debate reflects on the real world. Because like, yes, it's similar, but there's also like differences there.
Rayquaza came from the sky. To name one difference.
So I do feel like the modern stories are maybe too close to the real world. Like you see those stories and you're like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
A CEO who like bought like basically every company, or like owns basically every important company in the country, thinks he knows better than anyone else, and thinks he can force a particular course of events on people. It's going to cause a lot of short-term suffering, but hey, it's the long-term consequences that are good, so he's going to go for it, and he thinks he can make that decision by himself.
Yeah.
We are living through that. Oh, property values are falling in the city. We have to redevelop so that the property values stay high, therefore continuing to price out the people who are living on the streets or in rundown hotels. That is currently happening. So maybe Pokemon needs to pull back, and go back to the escapism.
Yeah, it's like too real. Again, especially too real given the level of commentary that they're willing to put in. With this game, you end up with nothing changing. That is not a hopeful ending. That's not one that empowers the player. That's just, we maintain the status quo, which is not a great feeling for today's landscape.
And just to kind of make it clear, I don't come to Pokemon for the political commentary. If there was no political commentary in it, it would be fine. Mm-hmm. It would have to not touch on political, at least modern political issues. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it would be fine. Yeah. Because when they do it, it stands out. And when you disagree with what they did, or they don't go far enough, it makes it hard to support. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If they made a very definite statement and you disagreed with it, that would be worse. But at least I guess that would give me an answer. If Pokemon made a game that was very clearly supporting, a fascist regime, which is not something that they would do, I think. But if they did, I would know, okay, I'm not going to touch this company anymore. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So when they give these kind of the middle of the road, nothing kind of that doesn't take me anywhere, I'm still left with I don't know what to do with this. Mm-hmm.
Complacency is ultimately siding with
with the oppressor, with the fascists. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So Pokemon Day is coming up soon. And I don't feel excited for it. Mm-hmm. If this video feels low effort, it's because Pokemon has not motivated me to put effort into it. I will watch whatever presentation there is on Pokemon Day, but I'm not holding my breath for anything specific. Mm-hmm. Even if I abandon the franchise completely, never play another game, Pokemon is part of who I am. It's literally on my skin. I wear it on me like it is part of my identity. But Pokemon needs to win me back. They need to convince me that the games are going to give me what I want. Mm-hmm. And that is feelings, right? That is the good kind of wholesome feelings of promise and adventure and of feeling like a child that I got when I was a child. Mm-hmm. And that I haven't gotten in 10 years. Mm-hmm. So Pokemon needs to win me back, but it wouldn't be hard to win me back. If they release a top-down 2D game, I'm probably in. Yeah. If they make a Return to Johto, I'm probably in. If they make anything that gives me my childhood, they can have my heart. Mm-hmm. I just don't have the faith that they're going to do that. Mm-hmm. Or that they're going to pull it off. That even if we do get a 2D top-down game or a Return to Johto, that it's actually going to... that it's going to give me the emotions that I want to get out of Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So even a new generation could be enough to bring me back if it feels right. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't buy the Mega Dimension DLC because I wasn't happy with the game. Mm-hmm. I might never buy the DLC. Mm-hmm. Because at the moment, I have no reason to go back to ZA. For the first time, I'm not assuming by default that I'm going to get the next Pokemon game. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Pokemon needs to convince me. Mm-hmm. And this is not a good feeling. Mm-hmm. I would probably be a happier person if I felt confident that the next Pokemon game is going to feel like a Pokemon game. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are people out there that are going to be like, it's a kid's game. Oh, you shouldn't criticize it. You have to adjust your attitude to only see the good in things, etc., etc. Just keep in mind, the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, these games, this is not someone that we have an actual relationship with. We have a company that is producing a product that we are giving money to. This is entirely transactional. That means that they are not above some constructive criticism.
If the Google Pixel phone that is out at the time when I'm looking to replace my phone doesn't fulfill what I need, I'm not getting that one. I'm getting a different one, right?
Exactly. We are the consumer here. So it's just like we're going to put our money and our time and invest it in something that is meaningful to us or is, improves our life in some way. So yeah, we're gonna say that we're gonna give a review that this is a product that did not satisfy us. I just know there's gonna be like a comment that's like, well, and stop buying the games, and it's like that's what this video is saying. Calling you out.
So this is a Pokemon focused YouTube channel, and so looking ahead, like what does that mean in the short term? The Ulloima team is working on an epilogue. I expect that will be out in April. Other than that, don't expect much on this channel. I have ideas for other videos that I would love to do if Pokemon gave me the motivation to focus on that, to continue engaging with the franchise in that way. At the moment, I don't have that motivation to pursue those videos. Unless what we get on Pokemon Day really hits me hard in a good way, I will probably be focusing my time on other projects that aren't in the YouTube sphere. Maybe I will make a video, about those projects at some point, but I don't make money on this channel.
Yeah, we're just here for fun.
For those of you who support my channel financially through Ko-fi or through YouTube memberships, I totally understand it if you take your money elsewhere. I mean, you're almost all in the Discord, so you will know what I'm up to, and so if you feel like continuing to support me is worth your money, I appreciate that. But also totally cool if you want to save the money for yourself. Rate Pokemon is something that with the To the Art of the New Megas being out now, it is time to update that website, but I tried to make an update to it a year ago, and I was struggling with a coding thing, and I just kind of stopped trying, and at this point I don't know if I'm going to have the motivation to go back to it. So if there's someone out there who really wants to take on Rate Pokemon, reach out to me. It would be really nice to have it continue being updated and have better features and all of that, but at the moment, again, I don't have the motivation to do that. So I will see you in the next chapter of the Ulloima Democratic Federation. And then after that, we'll see.